Laugh Kingz, we are back for our podcast. We got my main man to the right, the one and only Mr. JR. We got the one from Dubai who came. You're actually living now here.
Yeah.
So I guess you have two residents.
Yep.
The DX to the YYZ, Mr. Uncle Sammy. I don't know why I call you Mr. And then Jace, I'm here. So thank you for watching the podcast. Yeah. NBA is hot right now.
Whew.
Tell me how hot it is.
Really good.
Well, first off, we got to give a huge shout out to a Canadian kid from the GTA, in fact. From Hamilton.
Right? Yeah.
Big up SGA. Congratulations on winning the league MVP. It was a tight race. It basically came down to him or Joker.
Yeah.
However, I think it's safe to say that he had the slightly better season than Joker.
Oh.
Continue.
Okay. Well, but it's good because
you saw the Joker numbers though.
They were ridiculous.
Joker does
and
some
it's
stuff
technically not based on regular season, but they had the best record. So
most definitely.
Yeah.
So
shout out to SGA's dad.
Yeah.
That man's a true Toronto man.
Yeah.
I love the way he
OG.
He was on the Gilbert Arenas podcast, right?
He was. Yeah.
He was. That was awesome.
Yeah. There was a video where they went to. I guess he has some family in Jane and Shepherd. Yeah. So there's a video where SGA is talking to some family, and his dad's just in the back, just rolling up. Right on the video, they're like, it's nothing, you know? And it's like, there you go.
This guy lives near me.
Shout out to Price Chopper in the Jane and Shepherd area.
Oh, man.
You've served us very well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But, I think it's huge. Huge. And it's funny. I was looking back at... how this all started to where, OKC traded for SGA, giving up Paul George.
And that was it. They got all the draft picks plus SGA. So you got an MVP.
Yep.
Right.
And all these draft picks.
And Indiana.
Paul George.
And Indiana traded Paul George. Eventually ended up with Halliburton and all these picks.
Yeah.
So
Paul
thank
George,
you, Paul George.
Everyone's like, maybe Clippers should trade him.
But that's how it shows you, Paul George, his potential at that time was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now we get slack for it, but, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine? I was a Paul George Indiana fan.
Yeah.
He was good.
I was on his team.
Yeah.
But,
we changed so quickly. Seems like a lifetime ago. What it was.
Maybe it's like a thing to all the other teams, is it worth it to give up all these draft picks for that star player? Because now OKC is reaping the benefits of all these things, right? Imagine they got Jalen Williams and they got Chet Holmgren in one draft.
Yep.
But that's crazy.
Yeah.
There you go. That's just how the NBA does its thing. But yeah, I think Jace, you kind of twisted your face when I said he had the better season than Joker. I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I think it's probably for me. It's no shades on SGA, but I think the way he plays, and his supporting cast is way better than Jokic. Jokic is the sole reason why Nuggets even have a chance every single day. Triple triples for a big man is a huge thing, right? He's doing everything possible. I think
he's the only 30-20-20 triple-double too, right?
His numbers are crazy. If Denver... Now, technically it's not based on regular season, right?
True.
But if Denver would have made it past... Who are they playing? OKC, right? They're playing OKC.
No. Oh, yeah. Did they? Yeah, I think they did, right?
Yeah.
If they made it past and they went to the NBA Western Conference Finals, does he win?
Yeah.
Because they held out the MVP award for some strange reason, because it's supposed to be announced during the second round, typically, every year. But I don't know if you noticed, there was a huge delay in announcing the MVP this year.
I didn't even notice that, but...
Because you know why I think? I think there's an agenda with the NBA. We saw with Dallas, right? You trade Luka, all of a sudden you get the first pick.
Yeah.
Really strange, right?
Shaq came out.
Where do you want to play? In a warm climate, right? You'll probably look better in LA or Orlando, right? I think there is something to it. I don't think everything is predetermined like wrestling. But I think the NBA tries to set up franchises that would generate more money to get better chances to win. Unfortunately, this year it's all the small market teams except for New York.
Yeah.
But you can see that the NBA tries to give you an advantage if you're in a bigger market.
Yeah. Speaking of that, just to kind of go a little bit off topic, but with the setting up thing, I think the NBA could do themselves a little bit of a favor if they. I never realized the NHL lottery is drastically different because what they do is they actually have the ping pong balls and the numbers draw.
Yeah. And the NBA used to do that, right?
That's what they need to do because
it's all high hidden now.
Yes.
Deloitte is the company that determines who walks out with the briefcase that this is the thing. That...
So as long as that's the way you do it, people are always going to say you set it up. But like legitimately in the NHL, if like number 4 pops up, it shows you which team has that number.
Right,
yeah. And then the next number, it shows you, okay, these teams have that. So you know who's out. Yeah. So legitimately they go by like the numbers or whatever. But
if we get a little bit more behind the scenes of how the lottery is working.
Be transparent.
Right.
Like, you know what
Instead
I mean?
of a guy coming out and say, OKC.
Yeah. Dallas. It's like, oh yeah, we knew Dallas was going to get it. Like,
that's crazy.
Sorry to go off topic there, but that I'm just saying, like NBA needs to kind of do that too, like because for sure we all thought Dallas got it because they felt sorry for the Luka trade, or they're like, okay, send Luka to LA. They
forced the trade
LA.
because LeBron's gone. You need something to build up LA. Because LA can never be out of contention.
Right. We'll hook you up with Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
Like, bury those conversations by actually doing it transparent.
Like, and how uncomfortable Nico Harris, just to continue with that, look in those meetings. He had no clue how to answer any questions. Nope. You know he was forced to do those meetings. Yeah. One of the meetings he asked media not to attend and then had to do one with the media because everyone was complaining about it. Yeah. Everyone was blaming Nico Harris. I thought he was going to be killed in Dallas, to be honest with you.
They were mad.
They were going to kill him, right? Yeah. But, like, he's the guy who has to execute. And this is what I hate with companies. There's always the guy, the fall guy, that has to deal with the issues, right? With the customers directly, and then management saying, you have to do this because we're giving you a paycheck.
But even Jason Kidd's like, you deal with that. Like, I didn't want to trade him.
I didn't sign up for this crap.
He didn't say that, but his face said, like, I wasn't trying to trade Luka. Like,
But Dallas is going to look good next year.
Oh,
so
for sure.
They're put in a good situation. So the NBA rewarded them for essentially giving up Luka.
True. Yeah.
Or that's going to be the narrative.
That is the narrative.
Yeah,
that is. There's nothing else.
It doesn't help when
it doesn't make sense.
Shaq comes out and says, "Hey, they asked me if I wanted to play the."
It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Luka's that player you don't trade. Like, how dumb is Nico to come out and say, "I didn't know we needed him or liked him that much."
Who would have known an MVP candidate would be so good?
Yeah.
Like.
Who took it to the finals last year and then blame you say we can't win, but he took it to the finals in 6 games, right?
And
defense is the reason.
And he's out of shape. Like, okay,
okay. So SGA,
yeah, we got carried away.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But so you think that Jokic had a better season?
The reason I think that Jokic is following into that LeBron issue where if you get too many MVPs in a row, they automatically prop you up into a top 3 of all time, right? So Jokic already has 3 MVPs, I think, right?
Feels damn like
I think 3. Yeah. I think 3. If he gets 4, LeBron has 5. Yeah. Who else has 4? Magic has 5. Oof. Like, look at the company, right? Giannis has 1. Who else has 4? It's literally Shaq doesn't have 4. So, like, you kind of have to put him in that, is he better than Shaq? Because that came up as well.
Yeah.
Is he better than Shaq? And obviously, I don't think he's better than Shaq yet because he only has 1 championship.
Yeah,
but the MVP bears a lot of weight in terms of where your all-time rankings is.
Yeah.
So I think, like, you get into that habit where we're giving LeBron too many MVPs. Let's give Derrick Rose 1. Let's give Harden 1. You know what I mean? But LeBron, we all agree, should have deserved the MVPs all those years. He's supposed to have 8. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. He's supposed to have 8. Yeah. All his years in Miami, every single year he was supposed to have the 3 years, 3 more MVPs. But that's where I think Jokic has fallen into. He's won too many MVPs, and I think they're just, okay, he's won too many. Let's SGA is the next best option.
Yeah.
No shades on SGA.
Yeah, he deserves
Because he was in the
it.
running for the last 2 years.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, even last season too, he was in that conversation.
Yeah.
But, and it was funny too, there's a stat going around that the last 8 league MVPs have been
International, right?
international players.
Why is
right?
Canadians considered international? I have that feeling like that. This is me on the American hate. I'm sorry, American football. But like you guys think. Continue.
No, but to your point, Canada is like an extension.
We're a foreign country. We're like Iran or something like that.
We're an extension.
We're lucky we
of
have
America.
a team.
Yeah, we're an extension of America. We're not as international as you think.
Hockey and MLB, every single major sport, we have a team.
You know what?
Yeah.
I think it's the education that the Americans get fed. They make it seem like everyone in Canada is also like when you say Canada's a big.
We're bigger than the States.
Yeah, it's like
United States
land.
people.
Yeah,
Americans, we're bigger than you.
Yeah, we have more land. So when you say Canada, not everyone lives up north where it's freezing cold. Like Toronto, Montreal, all
Toronto
these
is in
areas,
the southern
like,
hemisphere. There's places in Minnesota. There's New York. We're on the same parallel. Chicago, we're on the same parallel line.
Our weather is the same as New York. Like
we don't wake up in igloos. SGA didn't wake up in an igloo and played on ice and shit like that.
Man's like sliding his jump. That's how he hit those like fadeaway jumps because he's used to sliding on ice.
That's how he
does it. It doesn't happen.
I didn't say
Yeah.
All right.
We got caught off guard there with the U.S. Well, we're not foreign. Like we're not international. We're like the same.
Anyways, if you think that way,
Yeah.
Okay, we got most of the international MVPs.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, even when you think of it too, right? Like if you run off some of the names, Jokic, Embiid. There's an argument that when Embiid won, that should have been Jokic.
It should have. Let's just say
Fine.
that falls into it.
Giannis.
Yeah, Giannis deserved it. Hart,
of course.
No.
SGA.
SGA.
And who was the other? There was another name that was.
Giannis won twice.
Wait, I'm missing somebody too. Yeah. Giannis, SGA, Jokic.
Harden was in there.
Not recently though.
No.
I think he was
because the
last.
8 in a row.
Yeah.
Why are we missing?
Yeah,
I feel
That's
like
why I said Jokic won 3.
Yeah, so maybe it is just
SGA,
those 3 guys.
Giannis won 2.
Yeah.
So we're missing 1.
Why are we not setting up for it?
Or maybe it could have been 7. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But
You gonna pull it up?
Let's pull it. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, because we definitely want to get it. Once it's like slipping my mind, I need to get it.
Yeah, no, I think.
But those are legitimate.
Yeah.
Embiid.
We just said Embiid.
Yeah.
Embiid is
same time. Yeah.
Embiid is international.
Yeah. Embiid is international.
Yeah.
Giannis twice. Jokic 3 times. Embiid once.
Oh my God!
Okay.
The audience like you just said Embiid. Like you know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
But those guys are legitimate international. Yeah.
Right. And so I think fine. That fair is fair. But I was reading some of the comments and there were some arguments going on. People are saying, you know, because this was the first Canadian since Steve Nash won his MVPs. I think it was 03.
And Steve Nash deserved those MVPs. I don't care what people say.
Some people say
That's what they're arguing about.
They're
That's what
saying-
people are arguing
some people
about.
say Shaq.
Oh, they said Shaq should have won 1 and then Kobe should have won 1.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That was the argument. Well, I heard the argument around Kobe should have won 1, but I'm hearing the Shaq one now. So, but
I remember that time. Shaq.
It's the media.
It's hard to
It's
say.
the media. I think they all 3 should have been in the conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what Steve Nash would do in that Phoenix Suns team? They were ranked top 1, top 2 in all of those seasons.
Yeah.
LA Lakers were great in the playoffs. Regular season, they were always the 4th seed, the 3rd seed, even the 6th seed on one of those years.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me Steve Nash did not deserve the MVP.
Oh, 100% he did. 100%.
Yeah.
But you know how it goes.
It's
right?
the Americans thinking they should win everything. I'm sorry.
Do you think the SGA is better than Steve Nash already?
Ooh.
No.
I think he has surpassed
say,
Steve Nash already.
I don't think so. Because Steve Nash has, in terms of all-time rankings,
Yeah, like just like the greatest Canadian.
Ooh.
the greatest Canadian, no.
You don't think so?
Just going on specific trophies, Steve Nash has 2.
Yeah.
SGA has 1.
Okay.
I think if you get another one, and with his stats, he would be...
Because his stats are pretty...
Those Phoenix Suns teams were crazy.
Yeah.
Game 7 against San Antonio Spurs, they
When he
body
got
checked
the bloody nose.
They would have went to the finals. They would have beat Indiana Pacers 1,000%.
You could say the Phoenix Suns was basically like the birth of the Golden State Warriors.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was how, big they were.
They should have just shot more threes, to be honest with you. But, anyways. Steve Nash could have definitely shot the threes.
Oh, yeah.
Amari Stoudemire, Richard Jefferson, Quinton Richardson.
Yeah.
Then they had Barbosa on the defense.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into all this
but
conversation.
That team
Steve Nash's
messed up. Steve Nash deserves the MVP because of what his team did. Oh, Steve Nash. Let's not go into
or who his team did. That's a wild team, though.
Yeah.
We'll let that go.
Jason Richardson. I'm just talking about the lineup for his wife.
Oh, God.
Steve Nash is like, you know what? I'm not a fan of that team, actually. Shay's better to me. I don't want to remember that
But
team.
in my eyes, if Shea wins one more, you can consider him better than Steve Nash. He's the greatest Canadian of all time. But no, because think about the league right now. How hard is it to win an MVP against Shaq, Kobe?
Yeah.
And that time, right? You got Tim Duncan, who's been dominating the MVP argument, and you have little LeBron coming in. Steve Nash wins it. SGA doesn't really have that competition. You know what I mean?
Also, it's a different rule now, too. Like, remember that you have to play 65 games to qualify. So if someone was having, like, an MVP season, gets hurt for, like, a few games, and don't qualify. I don't know if that fell, Maybe
but back then you didn't have that problem.
We didn't have that problem.
They played
so
games.
if someone plays like 64 games, they're not qualified.
Yeah.
So now you can't even vote for them, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little different too. So I kind of like the rule though.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Because everyone whines and doesn't want to.
Or else you're predetermined. Okay, this is the guy. Like, if you don't play, like,
Yeah.
what the hell? You can't get the MVP.
That's fair. I guess we gotta blame Kawhi for load management.
Yeah,
kind of started that.
Yeah.
Right?
Still a big Kawhi fan. I will always if Kawhi could just have, if I could give Kawhi my knees, if I could just give him my
He wouldn't
knees.
play good. He might as well play with his knees.
My knees are still better than his. You know what I mean? This guy would be. I think this guy could be up.
He would be top 5 all time. All time. If he actually played.
Good. Yeah. How do you not play for like a year and a half, come back, and like smoke everybody?
This year, there was fear of Clippers actually winning the chip, right? They were almost going to eliminate Denver because of the way Kawhi was playing.
That's how good this guy is. Like
Kawhi, man. But then again, like people are not going to remember that because like people can think about back in the days. They're going to say, oh, Mitch Richmond was like this. But at the end of the day, you only have a certain amount of championships and trophies to give.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, SGA, let's give him congrats.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And speaking of SGA, some debate going on of late, and for the past, I'd say a year or two, with LeBron getting up there in age, Steph, KD, and Harden, they're starting to eventually going to fizzle their way out of the league. Who's the new face of the league? There are arguments that it's either Anthony Edwards, despite all of the nonsense that has been going on with him, or that face is the new young crop, which is SGA, and some of the little older folks too. You got Giannis, you got Jokic, and people seem very divided on it.
I don't know why they're divided. If I'm the NBA, I do not want Anthony Edwards as the face of the NBA. Really? Knowing that he has those other things, well, apparently no one really knows about it because they're
hiding it.
Yeah.
I love that Perkins actually came out the other day and said about his personal life. Yeah. And said, we're not talking about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Big perk.
Yeah.
Thank you for actually saying that on ESPN because everyone's been avoiding that conversation.
Yeah. They're hiding
and now it's weird that the timing is he's eliminated and didn't show up in the playoffs for the Wolves, that you would say that, but I'm glad someone eventually said it.
you can't invest all this money and like publicity
on a loser.
behind. Yeah, and then like how could anybody get behind that? Like, you know what I mean? If you're a fan of his, like I was a fan of his.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, I'm not gonna say he's not a good basketball player. He obviously is good, but I can't cheer for someone like that.
But do you see
know
like
what I
how
mean?
the starting five, the Netflix though, it things your mind
It helps.
to to be on his side, right?
Yeah, I liked him
that's how
because of it.
narrative.
Yeah.
But then when you actually know how he is in real life, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad because I was a fan of his.
Me too.
And then finding out how he is in his personal life,
Yeah.
like denying children, just doing whatever he wants to do.
That's not.
It-
That's not.
it kinda
to me,
sucks.
that's not
Yeah.
good. Like, I would rather cheer for an SGA, like whose dad is like.
wears a tank top.
you know what I mean? Like you see that stuff. Like, I just like that. Jokic, man, wants to. He doesn't even love basketball like that. He wants to go. He loves horses more and stuff like that. But he puts his work in, like, you know.
He's passionate on the floor, but he actually wants a work-life balance.
Yeah.
He wants to go home and enjoy his time at home.
Yeah.
The man figured out life.
Yeah, Giannis, like this guy
Giannis is
plays with
passionate.
so much
Yep.
passion.
He should
He
be
wants
the
to
face.
fight Halliburton's dad.
Well, Halliburton wanted to fight him. Halliburton's dad wanted to fight him.
I don't know what he was thinking.
That guy is.
like
So-
Giannis is not gonna back down from somebody.
So the conversation of who's the face of the league, right? We had this on a couple
We
of
did.
pods.
Yeah.
Who's the face of the league?
I think you have to go with that cast. Though, like you let those guys battle it out. You throw Wemby if he gets healthy for next season.
Yeah.
You throw him in the mix.
Yeah.
Let those guys ball, and organically the face of the league will emerge.
Yeah.
But at least you have like quality human beings that you can invest money behind. You don't have to worry about a scandal.
True.
Anybody but Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
See, it's hard for me to say Jokic. Sorry, I even forgot to mention Luka. He's in that conversation. It's just
And
hard.
Luka's in LA. They're
Now he is.
positioning
Yeah,
him.
they're setting him up.
They're
yeah.
setting him up to be the face, right?
But the thing
I
is,
think they're
it's-
moving away from Anthony Edwards now.
Hopefully.
See, I don't think so.
Why?
I think the league realizes how marketable he is. It's hard to market a
What's
Jokic.
marketable on him? I know.
Yeah.
I want to see if you have the same answer for me.
I think
He reminds you of someone, right?
he
Does
reminds
he-
me of a few people.
But he reminds you of the typical Kobe and
Kobe,
Jordan,
right, yeah.
right? They have that dog mentality.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the playoffs didn't show that.
Kobe
Yeah.
never didn't show up in the like
Right.
never ever like you know what I mean.
True.
Yeah, yeah.
But
He
I
always
think
showed up.
that's why
Yeah.
they may look a different way because everyone is expecting him to at least get his numbers
Yeah.
and fight through the playoffs, even though they lost. That would have been respectable, right? But he
True.
didn't show up in a couple of games, so that's why I think the NBA may be rethinking it.
They have to.
But they were pushing.
Yeah.
They
At the
were.
end of the day, they were pushing. You saw all the Bleacher Reports, all of
Yeah.
the ESPN commercials, crossing off LeBron, crossing off KD.
Yeah.
Then Steph is the next target.
Yeah.
Like they were really pushing
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards in all of their promos.
Let me
it.
speak to the NBA right now. If you were trying to think of him like Kobe Bryant, you better reconsider.
Maybe he gets there in a
Yeah.
couple years.
I don't know.
Right?
I don't
Maybe.
think so.
But
Kobe would never disappear in the playoffs. He just doesn't have the DNA that he's built with. He just can't, like, you know. But that's work ethic. So there's
Yeah.
got to be something missing for Anthony Edwards to do that. Like,
maybe he figures it out this year and it works out. But we know with how he's been performing and how his personal life is kind of catching up to him now.
Yeah.
And we have Perk mentioning it. So it's
Yeah.
people will be more open and obvious and see what's actually going on. The face of the NBA is Luka. I don't care what anyone says. That whole trade to bring him to LA was for him to be the face of the NBA. That's in my eyes. Because Luka is the closest thing. Okay, the NBA realizes it's not going to be an American this time.
Yeah.
Because what we mentioned, the last MVPs and everyone else in the list that you mentioned
Yeah.
is not other than Anthony Edwards, is not American.
Wemby's coming up. He's not American either. Like, you know.
Putting Luka in LA, we're going to Americanize him. He's very close to being American where he likes beer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's in LA. He's going to get the coaching of LeBron.
Yeah.
He's going to get pretty much everything handed to him. They're going to build the team around him. They're going to always be on primetime event. Luka, Magic. They're going to build the league around Luka. That is my eyes. And he's a good player to build around, to be honest with you.
He's good. I just don't know if I believe that he... And maybe it's because just one season I'm going off of. Like He
looked weird in LA, but he was hurt. You could tell he was hurt.
These young guys are just catching up. Like,
but just don't forget, a season ago, he went to the finals.
Yeah.
True. You got to remember that. A healthy Luka can take you to the finals.
Do they have enough, though? Like, I know LeBron is still there. LeBron is... He's not the LeBron of He's still good, but then like your next,
I think you
got Austin Reeves. I don't believe in Austin Reeves.
If a franchise can make a move, it's going to be LA to help Luka and LeBron get to that echelon. Because in the NBA, in the NBA playoffs, if it's Luka and LeBron next season, Luka's going to get the Finals MVP if they won. Right? He's going to take over. He has the ball more in his hands like we saw with LeBron.
He's better than LeBron
He's better than LeBron at this point.
Yeah.
And they get a solid center. That's really all they need, and health, pretty much. So my eyes, Luka should be the face and probably will be the face the NBA is going to push. Yeah. What do you guys think?
They'll push it. I just think there's these young guys are so good.
You can't deny Giannis.
Like, Giannis is all... I don't know where he's going to be this year, but he has so much fight in him.
Yeah.
But I'm such a big believer in Wembanyama. And SGA is not going anywhere. Jokic not going anywhere. Yeah. So it's going to be hard to just... As much as they want to give him the thing, these guys aren't going out without a fight. Like, they're not... And they're dogs. Like, they're not... They're going to play to win, like, you know? So I'm not... Even if they want to give it to Luka, I think it's going to be hard. And we don't know with these more and more young talent coming into the league, who's going to emerge, right?
That's the thing. See, it's just hard for me to say Luka because, again, when I think of the face of the league, I think of on and off the court. I'm thinking about the reason why LeBron has been the face for so long is because who he is on the court and off the court, like he's an international superstar.
I would even say he's better than Jordan for the face
of the league. 100%.
Right?
100%. Because LeBron actually shows passion outside of the court and interacts with people versus like, we all know what they say about Jordan, right? What's the saying?
Jordan said he recently said he was lucky he wasn't around with social media. He actually said that. Right?
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine all the videos of him turning down autographs and pictures for fans? And, right? But LeBron, on the other hand, like LeBron has always been like that perfect guy, the family man, you know, the guy that shows up and does what he needs to do on the court.
That's why I think he's...
Steph, same thing.
Steph is good,
right? The family man. I got the kids. I got the big $1 billion Under Armour endorsement, whatnot.
That one's still recording, right?
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, it's good. So it's hard for me to like... We know with Jokic, he just wants to punch out and just go back to Serbia.
But that's why I do a comparison. Jokic, Wembanyama, I feel like in the Jordan era, if we make a comparison, they're like the Akeem Olajuwons.
Yeah.
Super talented, great, can win championships. They just don't have that cachet that the NBA wants to push.
Yeah.
Because Akeem was not considered American. He was considered international.
He is. True. Technically, he is.
You know what I mean? That's my feeling towards Wembanyama.
Yeah.
And Giannis kind of gives the same vibe.
Yeah.
Like, you're great.
Yeah.
But unless you move away from Milwaukee, if Giannis was in LA, he would be in Luka and he would be pushed all the way.
For sure.
We'll see what happens in the offseason.
Well, the Spurs is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Because they got the second pick of the... So Wembanyama is a unicorn as is. This guy hits 3 shots and like could post you up. Like he can do everything. And then I think they got the second pick overall too, or something like that.
Yeah.
Adding that to their team, and they can trade that to try to bring more I think this is gonna be I can't wait to see who emerges. This is like Survivor. Yeah. It's like Survivor. Who's gonna be the one who like comes out of the pack? I don't know.
So I say Luka, you say Wembanyama.
I think Wembanyama ends up taking over.
Did you give
I
your
still
answer?
say Anthony Edwards.
Okay.
I still do.
I hope not.
And you know,
I hope Jordan's wrong.
You know what? And the thing is, he got a huge Adidas deal, and Adidas stood with him. They're still with him. They didn't say.
I agree with you up until the recent playoff, the way he performed, and all of these things coming to light.
True.
The NBA wants Anthony Edwards,
for
right,
sure.
to be the face.
Yeah.
It's American, right?
Yeah.
But they might pivot.
Yeah.
Pivot podcast. They might pivot and make that change.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. If you want an American, is there anybody else that you could leave?
It's Steph. Steph probably has a couple more.
I wouldn't
LeBron.
give up on Steph, though.
Yeah.
If you want, Steph is... I would depend on Steph. Steph is like a family man. Does everything... Like, this guy works at his craft. Obviously, you can't hit all these shots and things without working, right? So...
True.
But is it going to be like Rachel Nicholas? Rachel
Nichols? I think
Nichols,
Nichols,
yeah, Nichols, yeah.
Hi, Rachel. She made a good point the other day.
Yeah.
Basically, after Jordan left, there was going to be a flux of years that we don't have a face of the NBA. Yeah. It's just competing personalities like AI, Kobe, Vince, McGrady. They all kind of were trying to be the face of the league until one actually proved themselves. Because the ones we're talking about, other than Giannis and Jokic, don't have championships.
True.
So we kind of need that, right? Like, you need someone to come in and win a couple championships to actually say you're the face of the league.
Yeah.
It's a little hard
it'll
too.
probably be that transition period where it might take 4 or 5 years where we don't know who the face of the league is, but we just have really good players that we don't know who's going to come out.
I'm
ahead.
a little conflicted, though, because I don't want someone to step up and kind of dominate, become the face of the league.
Yeah.
Because the parity that I see in the
league's
NBA
good.
right now is so fun.
Yeah.
Like, it is the most fun I've seen in the NBA in so long. Like, I don't think there's been a repeat winner in how long? Like, Raptors, like, and as they went along.
I think
like,
Golden State was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So, that when the Raptors went? 2019?
2019.
Yeah.
So then, since then, look at how, and look how
Small markets are winning.
small markets are winning. I know people are like, oh, no one's going to watch this. People watch good basketball.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
teams are coming back from 20-point deficits and, like, winning games, we're going to watch it.
Oh, yeah.
You know, someone sends a WhatsApp chat. Oh, my God, I can't believe they came. Automatically, I turn into the game, like, even if I wasn't watching it, right? So I'm kind of conflicted. I don't want someone to emerge and take, like, 2, 3, especially if we're building super teams. God, I cannot.
Well, thank God the
stand
super
that.
team era is done.
Yeah.
Because it worked for a bit, and then all of a sudden, it's good that it hasn't worked out.
Yes.
I mean, it was cool. Steph versus LeBron for those from 2015 to
That's
just
cool.
the year that Golden State went up against the Raptors.
Yeah.
Right. But again, so it was cool, right? Because we got to see like true talent go against each other, right? And sure, like the super teams are kind of fizzling out now.
That's
but
good.
It's better.
Because young players are getting that.
Yeah.
No, come to
Your
play
team
with
has
me.
a chance. Do you remember how many times we said, why are we looking at the NBA? Golden State's going to win.
Yeah.
Like every time we would
yeah.
start, even Stephen A would say, like, why do I care about the regular
Yeah.
season? Golden State's going to win.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
So why are we watching the NBA?
But whatever happened, and this is what I'm glad these young players are coming to, like, they're like, oh, I can be a superstar here. Why do I have to tee up with another superstar? And these guys
And that's the
around
thing
me,
with
I'll
Anthony
make them
Edwards,
good.
where I do see they wanted to push him because he wants to win in Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
And he wants to stay there, and he wants to do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I love guys with that mentality.
Giannis has that mentality.
Yeah, they're like, I'll win.
Yeah.
I'm good enough to win.
Yeah.
Put players around me,
Yeah.
and I'll show you I'll win.
Yeah.
I like that. I don't know if Giannis is gonna probably want out this tier. He's not wanting out
I
for a
hope he
super
doesn't
team.
leave, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Because if I was a Milwaukee fan, you finally have something to cheer for since what's his name? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
And if he leaves and win a championship, it's like, damn.
I think they'll cheer for him just because he
They'll
won a
cheer for
championship.
him.
Yeah,
Just
for
like
sure.
we'll cheer for Kyle Lowry. We'll cheer
Yeah.
for Siakam.
Yeah.
Big up Indiana.
Yeah.
Big up to Siakam.
We'll
Spicy
cheer for him,
Pete.
but it's like bittersweet, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you kind of wish he did it here and won multiple championships in
Yeah.
Milwaukee.
I think this offseason of the NBA is going to be explosive.
Yeah.
Well, Shams was saying it, but I think he used the word explosive. I think it will be like Kind of excited to see what goes down though. It'll shake it up. Hopefully not shake up where there's super teams, but like kind of like just shake it up where there's a little bit more parity. Like
that's fair.
well, there's not parity, but like just to get fan bases feeling.
Yeah.
Like I know the Raptors. I know the Raptors. We need to feel like we got a chance again.
Yeah.
I see writings on the wall. Like we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about who's gonna make it to the finals? So this is let's set where we are today.
Okay.
Right? So we already know OKC is going to the finals.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now it's gonna be Game 6 with the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers.
Yep.
Pacers leading the series, right?
Yep.
Yes, 3-2 and gate where tomorrow's
gonna be in Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel?
Ooh, oh man.
Think the Knicks pull it off?
No. I think Indiana's. I think they're gonna win it. They're gonna shut it down, and it's gonna be the battle of the small markets.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it though.
I love it.
It'll be great because you know what? I know there was a lot of talk of Halliburton and how he hasn't really. His regular season was so, but he has a good supporting cast.
Is he a
Siakam,
superstar?
Turner. There's a few other players in there that on a consistent basis support him and allows the Pacers to actually be a really good team, right? So I think they've got New York with their back against the wall. New York
played really well.
They did. They've played.
Halliburton.
Oh yeah,
didn't show up.
But I mean, Siakam's been going off. He's been looking really good. It's tough, right? And when you look at the Knicks, aside from, and shout out OG, right? Aside from OG, this is, and then for last year Brunson.
Cat gets a lot of slack,
he
but
does.
He puts up his 20 and 10 every game.
With a little sass on the side, and he's a little.
I'm tired with the Cat hate.
He's a sassy guy.
He's sassy. He's sassy, but I want you and the audience to Google who his girlfriend is.
Oh, Jordan
We
Woods.
know Jordan Woods.
Shout out Jordan Woods. Yeah.
So if I'm Cat and I don't mind acting sassy if I got that with me. You know what I mean?
But Tristan Thompson knows about Jordan Woods as well.
Oh, man.
Let's not get into that. But
and then Kylie Jenner, which is Jordan Woods' best friend, is just courtside. I don't know. They had a fallout, then they got back together. I don't know.
Yeah, it's wild.
The NBA and their dirty.
Cat, you're doing well, man.
Yeah,
you in NYC.
Yeah.
You a superstar center.
Yeah.
And you doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
But
2 games.
In all honesty, I want Indiana, but I just think for the sake of the madness of the NBA, like I just want to see New York just go nuts if they were to go to the finals and win, just to see what the hell happens in New York. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, climb up the Statue of Liberty and tear it down or something? Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? But it's fun. It's been fun to see.
So you want New York to win?
No, I want Indiana, but I just want to see what the hell's gonna happen in New York.
Okay. How about you?
I want Indiana to win, but I also know if Indiana doesn't win tomorrow, going back to New York is not going to be easy. Yeah. So my heart wants Indiana because shout out Pascal Siakam. Yeah. Although OG is on, but Pascal is like a bigger part of the, Pascal he helped win the championship.
Pascal is a legit superstar.
Superstar.
There's no denying that.
They don't run plays for Pascal.
Yeah, and he scores 20 to 30 points a game.
Yeah, that's the thing that's crazy. Pascal is Pascal. So I want him to get that publicity, let people... He's getting it already because, I see Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, all of them talking about how great Pascal is. So I love it. But I want him to get that shine in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going for Indiana as well.
Yeah, pulling for them, but they need to win the next game. They need to win it.
I don't want New York Knicks to ever make it to the finals. Really? I was a Reggie Miller fan.
Yeah.
And I love Halliburton doing the thing.
I wish that was a 3.
That was monumental.
They won the game still? Yeah. But if that was a 3 and they won it with the choke,
that's monumental. I want New York to always fall to the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs because now there's a legit rivalry that we had before, right?
Yeah.
So Halliburton Shout out to Halliburton.
Yeah.
He's good, man.
He's proven himself to be a superstar level, and he is very similar to Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller was not a superstar, but he showed up in clutch moments all the time, right? And that's why you have the legend of Reggie Miller. Everyone loves him. Everyone wants to be like Reggie. Even Jordan has battles with him, and he took some of those battles. That's why I think Halliburton, people compared him to Urkel, things like that playing, but I like the fact that he has that cachet like Reggie Miller, and he's in Indiana, and he's facing the Knicks. Yeah, because that's the NBA I grew up in.
Indiana is a deep team, so that's why I think they're gonna pull it out tomorrow, because I know Thibodeau gets slack because he doesn't play his guys, and he started to play his guys now, but Indiana can outplay them going deeper.
And you mentioned Thibodeau, but who's the other coach? Rick Carlisle. Who is probably
Jim Carrey's brother.
But after like Spo and Steve Kerr, he is probably the next best coach in the NBA. I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, he's been doing it so long.
Yeah.
He does look like Jim Carrey a lot.
You want to chip with Dallas?
Yeah.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows.
Yeah.
I think he's the better coach.
Yeah.
But imagine they go to they don't even play Ben Mathurin. They go to Ben. I'm so in awe of that guy because he doesn't back down from anybody.
And he's from Canada. Right?
Yeah, he's from Montreal, I think. Yeah. A lot of Canadians.
Shout out to Montreal girls.
Yeah.
We'll come
Just
to see
the girls.
Shout out Montreal. Shout out the guys.
Shout out everybody from Montreal. If you're watching the podcast, shout you out. If you're not.
Okay, so I think we're all in agreement. We want to see OKC versus Indiana.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I think so, yeah. At that point, I don't really care who wins. Low key, I do want Pacers to win just because of Pascal. But if OKC wins, I love that these young players work so hard. Good if you win too, right? So both teams deserve it.
And to go back on the face of the league conversation, if Indiana were to win and Halliburton were to win MVP, could you throw his name in there to say potentially?
That's the
I think
American. So. Well, you have to, right?
I think so. Because he would be, unless Siakam somehow outperforms him, he would be the Finals MVP. We're saying, right? But Siakam has a good chance.
Yeah, he could outperform.
He would be Finals MVP, first time in the Finals. Yeah. He would be 1-0.
And let's not.
He would show that he beat the 1-seed Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Beat the Knicks. Who did they beat in the first round?
Well, we're assuming. We also have to put out there. We're thinking Pacers or OKC wins.
Right.
What if the Knicks win the championship?
Right.
You know that it could be Mr. Sass over there who I think it's Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson. That guy. I think he can be in that category because you're in New York.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't miss. When you're an opposing team, you just like, damn, this guy. It's so annoying, but he's so good.
Reminds me of Kyle Lowry. Plays really hard and tough.
Yeah.
So in case Knicks fans hating on us, we're not saying that they can't win the championship.
I'm saying you can't win the championship. Even if you beat Indiana, you ain't beating OKC. I'm sorry. You ain't beating OKC.
I put the scenario out there just in case.
And you know what? Let's go back to think back to the trade that the Knicks pulled off with the Raptors, where they gave up two of their young and up-and-coming superstars, which was Barrett and Quickly.
Yeah.
For OG.
Right.
And Precious Achiuwa, too. Which,
I don't care for Precious too much, but OG makes a massive difference to that team.
Thibodeau loves OG. He is that player. He's Luol Dong, basically.
He does everything. Dong or Dang. I think it's Dang. Yeah. Luol Dong is a different industry altogether. I'm sorry, I had to say it.
You would know.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, that would be OG does make a massive difference. But my heart's still with Pascal because he did more for the Raptors.
And that would show the value of how strong our team was. Like you got Marc Gasol, you got Serge, you got Kyle Lowry, you got Kawhi, and then you had Siakam, who was basically our Scottie Pippen.
Well, look at this. OG, massive addition, massive reason that the Knicks are good.
Right.
Yeah.
Pascal, Pacers. Norman Powell, Kawhi, because Norman Powell was the one who held it down all
They're the
the
reason they made the playoffs.
Yeah. And then Kawhi, that team was stacked. And actually, Draymond Green actually said that.
Yeah.
Draymond Green goes and says like, "Hey, you guys are underestimating how good these guys were." Like
he said he really only had 2 problems. It was Pascal and he was someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "No, they're legit. Like they beat us."
Yeah. Finally, he admitted because he kept on blaming the injury. But finally, he admitted.
Yeah, he did. He did.
We're gonna beat you with KD. KD's legacy. We gotta have a special pod on KD because
he's gonna get traded to what his like. He almost played for every team at this point.
Yeah, feels
he's a journeyman, and he's still. It's sad what's happening with KD because like when we talk about Vince Carter and stuff like that, wasted potential. I feel KD is on a different level of wasted potential.
This guy is so gifted, but I think the fact that he chased that championship in OKC, I don't know if it diminished his game or dropped his, I don't know, his confidence. I don't know what it is.
The reason is too because after he left, Golden State was still winning.
Yeah.
Right, and he tried to win with Brooklyn. He tried to win with Phoenix, and it's just not working.
He's gonna go somewhere
else.
And
the problem is like he is getting superstars to come with him, right? You got Devin Booker, you got Kyrie, you got James Harden, the best of the best at the time,
and still not.
And you still
didn't
can't
make the playoffs,
right?
You didn't make.
You're getting kicked out in the first round by Anthony Edwards, right? But that's a different pod.
Yeah. Damn. Still think back to that OKC team that went against the Heat.
You know what's kind of bad though?
Crazy.
Yeah.
If Boston didn't have the injury, I would have liked to seen Boston kind of make it and kind of solidify Jason Tatum. I know people give him a lot of crap. Yeah. I don't like Boston
so
as a
unoriginal.
team.
That's my problem with it.
I don't like him Boston as a team, but I feel like Jason Tatum would have been the face of the league if he got back to the finals this year. And win or lose, they would have probably had NBA would have probably had something to push.
Yeah, if we're forgetting, Tatum is that guy from American players, but I think Boston's gonna blow it all up this season.
I hope they don't.
They have to.
Yeah.
Why do you say?
I don't think they have to.
Just because of
they
contracts?
will.
Well, number one, contracts. They have Brown and Tatum tied up for the next 5 years, where they're basically combined. It's
super max.
But you want to win though. That's the situation. You want to win. You got to keep it together.
But
they're young. They're still in their prime. Like why would you rebuild when you actually have another 5 years with these guys that you could potentially win again?
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also too, speaking of that, is you also have to hope for the best with Tatum, because it's an Achilles injury where
he's not coming back anytime soon.
No, he's not. Yeah. But I mean, it could either heal to where.
And that's the reason you got Jaylen Brown. Keep it.
If you trade Jaylen Brown,
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see.
We'll see.
You know what? I don't like the Boston Celtics style of play. Like Golden State, they hit a lot of threes. Boston just every shot is a three.
Yeah.
I don't know, and I think that's not good for the NBA.
I like Boston. I have always traditionally hate Boston, but I like Boston because of their coach. I think he's I think he is amazing for the league.
Yeah.
Who is? This guy doesn't care about
Jason Tatum's just like, don't go after him. Let him get up.
He's crazy.
Yeah. And he's young. Yeah. He's I think still in his 30s.
But he wasn't like this until he won the championship. And then it's like, all right, now it could be me. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not gonna get fired.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Man.
You want to switch it up?
Yeah.
So next we're talking about.
All right, so let's go into the immigration talks. All right, so last year on our pod, and
one of our popular pods, by the way.
One of our popular ones, and the video's still out there, still available. Check it out. We'll provide some context leading up to this conversation. Why do immigrants get
hates?
Yeah. So we originally started with that, and to kind of cue this up, we live in Canada. Right? We're Canadians. And for those who don't know, Canada's going through they're going through a large influx of immigrants coming into Canada.
Or have gone through a lot.
Yes.
Right.
Have gone through.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see the year-end numbers, but
Yeah.
they were still pretty high at the beginning of 2025. Obviously, we had a different government at the time. So I wanted to revisit this because I've been seeing the hate still continues online. Like if you go to any news agency that tweets out a news story, you look at the comments, I'm seeing people saying, if it's a car accident, they're referencing a certain type of people, right? And they have names for it. I'm not even going to mention that here.
No, let's call it out.
Yeah.
They say, is this Canada or is this India?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly, right?
Is this India?
And I seen another video the other day where somebody was showcasing Niagara Falls, and they're this is no longer Canada. Yeah. And there's a big debate going on. Say, well, Niagara Falls is a tourist destination. And then people say, well, these are not tourists. These are individuals here that are on a work permit or a study permit. So they're not tourists. They're living here, whether they're going to school or they're working. They're still, abiding by Canadian law. They're not tourists that are going to pick up and leave next week or the week after, right? There's other videos going around where there are fast food establishments, and I'll specifically call this out Pizza, that will only predominantly hire Indians, right?
And let's not generalize that because I think it's only specific locations and franchises.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because different depending on your area.
Yeah.
I know Tim Hortons gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
Tim Hortons gets a lot of hate.
There are names for it.
Yeah.
So I guess to kind of revisit this, since we had that conversation last year, do you think, and now that we have a new Canadian government, it's a completely different political party. Same political party.
Different leader.
But different leader with
different
slightly
views.
different views, right? Do you think there's hope for Canada to change the current situation that we're in? And what do you think is the long-term plan with the amount of immigrants that Canada has received?
You know what? I think there is hope. Because I think my personal opinion is you can't bring in people too quickly when you don't have the housing, you don't have the health care, and then, you can blame different governments all you want, but if the federal government is bringing in people at a rapid pace that we can't sustain, then you're not taking care of the people who are already here. And that's my big problem. So the only thing, I would have liked to change personally. However, I think with Mark Carney, what I do see about him, he's more moderate. Yeah. He's more centered. So he's not one side and the other side. So I'm not totally against giving Mark Carney a chance. But I did see that one of his things that he's looking to do is completely change the numbers of what's coming in. So I think that's a great start. Whether it's the same government, usually I would be up in arms, what the hell are we doing with the same government? But because I see he's more centered and I see that he is tackling the issues that are important, especially the immigration numbers, I think that's a good sign. So I think we're going in the right direction. Now, let's get to the end of 2025 and look at the numbers.
For sure.
But I kind of have a little bit more hope for this Liberal government than I had for Justin Trudeau's, obviously. And another thing is we kind of setting ourselves up for this. That's the problem. For me personally, you can't just bring people in from one part of the world. So if you're bringing immigration, no one's saying don't bring immigration. Right. You can't bring in from one section where it's predominantly one way, because then you making people hate. Because if you take a video and you're only seeing one type of people, they're naturally gonna start hating, and then when something happens, they're gonna go to that. That's so it becomes that stereotype. Whether I'm not saying it's right or wrong, because it might be right if we're seeing only one type of people, but it might not be either, right? So it's do yourself a favor, and there's a lot of other countries that need to bring immigrants as well. So look at them too. So I don't know. I have a little bit of hope because he's talking differently, pipelines and things like that. Like, these are things that I think Canada need to change in terms of like using our resources, fixing stuff that's happening in Canada. So I'm cautiously optimistic. What do you think, Jay?
I'm gonna stay with what I said in the last video. I think people in Canada have a problem with Indians, and social media makes it worse.
Yeah.
Because the problems was already here, like you said. Housing was always a problem. Job search was always a problem. It's just because Indians came. Crime was always a problem.
Getting worse though.
It's getting worse. Yeah. But Indians did come at a rapid rate. Yeah. Pause. I don't know why I keep saying that.
Well, that's why the population's so high.
And because social media today is the way it is today, everything's amplified.
Yeah.
So let me give you an example. If it wasn't Indians, we would be blaming Italians? I don't think so. Yeah. Because I think inherently people hate brown-skinned people.
Oh, Canada. For sure.
And I'm talking to those folks who actually spread the hate.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care what people say. If it was an African immigration, mass immigration, and it wasn't India, we would be blaming the Africans.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It comes down to the skin color of what's happening with social media and how people are being portrayed. I'll give you an example. If let's say you dressed up and you felt good today. You wore like new clothes, a nice suit, and you went to, back in your days before social media was crazy. You walked out, got on the bus, went to school, you feel good. Maybe you got 5 compliments. Hey, that shirt looks good. Your friends gave you some compliments. That's a cool shirt. Yeah. Maybe a couple girls gave you compliments. Hey, JR, nice shirt. You look really good today. Maybe, let's say you get max 10 compliments. Today, you can post that picture of your shirt. Yeah. You'll probably get hundreds of comments that says great shirts. You'll also get, which you wouldn't have gotten before, hate. Yeah. Why is this guy posting a new shirt? Does he think he's better than all of us? And out of the hundreds of comments, you'll probably get, let's say, 20 to 50 hate comments, right? Which wasn't prevalent in the years before. Yeah. So even though people did hate you and feel like they wouldn't do it to your face, but now people, because of social media, and you've experienced this too, people will hide and throw shades at you to bring you down. And that's what's happening today. People see immigration, they see mass amounts of Indians doing work, they're out in the communities, they're building their own communities. Yes, there are some things that they have to learn to integrate into our society because they're coming from India. Who are they going to hang out with? Indians. Right. Like, you come into the country, who are you going to hang out with? Indians. You're going to hang out with your type of people. We're going to hang out with our type of people. If we have bad habits of drinking, playing pool cards, going to the racetrack, we're going to do that because that's what we do. But that's just how they are back home. They don't see it as a problem. But that's where the issue is, where people will hate you because of social media having that impact and giving everyone a voice who doesn't really need to have a voice. So I think the hate is amplified today because of the way we are in society today. I just think Indians are the scapegoat of this hate. Yeah, they're stealing your job, but you don't want to work. You don't want to admit that. Do you want to work at Tim Hortons? Sing Hortons? Go and apply. Maybe you can work at Tim Hortons. You know what I mean? That's my opinion of it. But I mean, there are things that obviously need to change. When you talk about mass immigrations of one particular country, the one thing I do like that the United States have, no more than 7% of a country can immigrate into your country. So you only 7% of immigration, and if we have a number of 200,000 we can immigrate to Canada, no more than 7% can come from one specific nation.
Genius.
Which balances it out, right? We definitely should implement that. But like, as Canadians, we didn't foresee the issue of everything coming from one country because give them credit. They're smart. They figured out a loophole in the system to help their own people. Yeah. Just like Jewish people help their own people to come here, build wealth, buy business, buy stuff from your own community. They've been able to do that, right? They're going, if Niagara Falls, you're complaining about it's overpopulated by these type of people. What's the other option? No one come to Niagara Falls and then everyone's closing down?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, so that's my take on it. Yeah. That's my take on it.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. Yeah. The one thing I think like is the problem is when the crime starts going up and it's on one set of people as well. And it's not to say that they're the only ones, but when you see like the people get arrested with the stings and the carjackings and these things, and then that's when it leads the opening to make. So you got to help yourself too. Like you got to when you're bringing, but that's part. It's not really their fault either, right? It's like if the government's bringing you in and you're not vetting these people who are coming in, and they're criminals and they come here and commit crimes, like they were always committing crimes. Why are you shocked? You should have actually.
They didn't come here and automatically be a bad guy.
They were. You know what I mean? They continued being who they were. Right. So we should that's on the government to start vetting these people, but it does lead to people going to that. I think obviously it makes sense why they would say that. So I understand the frustration behind it, which is unfortunate because what happens is there is also the flip side where there's a lot of people who are here who aren't criminals. They're here to make a living, set up their self for wealth and set up their family for wealth without causing, any issues. But those people are going to get scapegoated and
for sure,
stereotyped for a certain way because of the people who have the wrong things. But that's the truth. I think
it's a sensitive topic.
The Trudeau government should have vetted the people.
It's a sensitive topic because we could talk out against the people who are giving the hate, and we can talk towards the people giving the hate and side with them. But hate is a very easy thing to do today.
Easy target,
right? Like, imagine you as an immigrant. You're a good person. You want to come to Canada to get an education. You come here. I Googled the article. Hate crimes for Indians in Canada alone has gone up 30% this year. And that's a minimal amount of number because imagine the Indians who are embarrassed to come forward.
Exactly.
So it's really bad for them, for the ones that actually want to come here, which is probably the majority. Because we always get blamed for the minority, just like terrorists and all that stuff. We get blamed for the minute minority that are the bad than the overall people that actually want to come here and do well. So to me, it's not their fault, but there should be better moving forward. We've learned what the issue is. Let's move forward. And hopefully Mark Carney can figure out a better process. And it doesn't mean that no Indian should come here. It's just we should vet for the best possible quality immigrant to come in Canada. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that's fair. I think part of the issue too is a large part of the blame is the monopoly that is created by this. So for example, international students when they come. So typically international students tuition fees are higher than domestic students. Right? So if I'm paying $4,000 for a semester...
Was the universities complaining when there was a mass immigration?
Oh, no, they were loving it.
They love it.
But now you hear they're complaining, right?
Professors, and they got to close these programs and whatnot. The fees that, immigrants are paying for, whether it's a work permit, study permit, PR, whatever it is, obviously the government's making a lot of money off of the fees that these individuals are paying to come into the country. Look at all the landlords that are cramming 20 people into a 3-bedroom house, right? It's just everybody's benefiting from it.
And isn't the landlord taking advantage?
Oh yeah,
right. You're cramming so many people in a home just to make a better profit, knowing that this is not ideal place for them to live. But then at the end of the day, saying there's a housing crisis. So other people can't afford it. So what are they supposed to do? Just come here and live on the streets, then blaming that there's more homeless. You guys are coming here to live on the streets, but now they're taking away your housing. Like, what do they do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The Indians didn't know the problem before.
No.
They're coming here to make a better life.
Yeah.
And you're blaming them for the situation that they're actually
That's
didn't
why I
have
said
control over.
They should take that hate and blame the government.
Right.
Because they shouldn't have brought them here when they... Like, I feel bad. Someone who's like a doctor, like a doctor back home.
He's
who's
an Uber
like,
driver.
Yeah, Uber
trying
driver.
to kill it.
Or he's homeless.
Right.
Like, he's like begging on the street because there's nothing, you know, he could actually do, which is, or he or she could do, which is insane to me. Like, if you're trying to, you have to be able to bring it in at a place where you can actually help the country and help the people who are coming to this country be able to get the jobs that they're supposed to be in. Like you said, there's no reason to have a shortage of doctors as is. So why is a doctor not being able to get educated to the Canadian standards and be a doctor instead of being an Uber driver? You know, so it's, the people should think, don't blame the people that are coming. Blame the government that's bringing them without like vetting them, and understanding how many people the population can actually absorb right now compared to like overpopulating it, where we're like,
it's social media. It's social media blaming the hate because who built the railroads in Canada? The Chinese immigrants, right? Along with the African American immigrants and all that stuff. I don't know why I say African American. They'd be African Canadian. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But you know what I mean? Like immigrants built this country, and if you're complaining about it now, who are complaining about it? The native Canadians. There's no native Canadian. These guys, your grandparents came from Europe or different parts of the world. You're immigrants too.
They're all immigrants.
Everyone's immigrants. So like we're all in the same situation. Just because I'm going back to an uncomfortable topic, it's because they are darker skinned.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah, and you know what too? Like, even if you look back, you know, throughout the various times in Canadian history too, where the same hate, I don't want to say the same hate, but a lot of Caribbean immigrants that were coming
I think the
during
same hate, but because social media
didn't exist.
Right? You had a good group of people that were coming, hardworking, they're working in factories, they were, you know, doing the jobs that whether born Canadians back then didn't want to do, right? But you did have a small group of the ones that were involved in crime. But everybody just said, oh, all these immigrants from the Caribbean, you know, they're all bad, and calling them coconuts. All these, that's an old name. Maybe some of the folks out there will know. That's what they used to call immigrants in the 70s and 80s. In places like New York, Toronto, you know, they call them coconuts, right? And it's kind of...
Yeah, and back then, it was Jane and Finch, it was Rexdale.
Scarborough
area, and now all of a sudden it's just Brampton. It's just different. Right? You know what
exactly.
I mean?
It's changed only because the
different
culture, like the Caribbean culture is now more popular and stuff. So now when they see Caribbean, they don't stereotype it as much.
Give it another
right?
20 years, the Desi culture will be popular. And then we'll be blaming something else. We'll be blaming something else through holograms instead of whatever we're doing that year.
Oh, when we were growing up, we were called a lot of different names. You know.
It's crazy, but it's just different era now. Right?
Now everybody wants to take Hawaiian.
No.
And you know, for that, I've actually uninstalled TikTok.
Did you?
I did.
Shoot.
That's why you don't see me sending posts every day anymore.
True.
I actually uninstalled and trying to get like away from this because every time I go, there's some kind of thing that irritates me.
Fan base.
I got a fan base. I'll come back on TikTok, but I just need that. I need to get away from that a bit because I feel like it's too much hate.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of hate.
It's too much, man.
Mine is completely different. It's just women, so it's strange. I don't see too much hate.
Perfect point. All these haters. If you see a beautiful Indian woman, do you look at it? Or do you
look at her?
Do you actually say she's taking your job at Tim Hortons?
Like
I don't care where she works.
Get your priorities straight. Exactly. You get a pass if you look good.
So Jay, you shared a video with us which I thought was pretty funny.
Funny and sad at the same time.
So
actually.
it was kind of where a woman basically chose to go on vacation than going to her husband's funeral.
Oh my God! That's why I said it to you. I couldn't believe it.
I think it's a little bit older now. I think it's been out there a little while. Yeah,
That's crazy.
That's the first time I've seen it.
I think I've seen it before.
And at first I was like, what? How is this even possible? Like, I can't imagine that thought even came into your head. Or came into her head.
Can you put yourself in her situation? Like her shoes? Think about it. You have... It was like a major vacation. Like it was Tunisia or some crap like that,
Was
right?
it? Okay, yeah.
Like you booked this vacation...
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Years in advance. And it's a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
You don't... Maybe you
She
booked
didn't
it...
take insurance or
Didn't
something.
take insurance. Let's just give her a benefit of the doubt on some of these
okay,
things. No insurance, no trip cancellation,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then the person you're going with dies. Do you go?
Damn.
Okay, let's make it personal a little bit more.
okay.
Us three, we book a guy's trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We book a guy's trip to where are we going? Bora Bora.
Okay.
We book a guy's trip to Bora Bora.
That's very weird to do a guy's trip to Bora Bora, but whatever.
Where's a better place? Thailand?
Yeah.
We book a guy's trip to Thailand.
I like this scenario.
And we put it out a year from now.
Yeah.
Okay.
A year from now. So we're like, okay, we got a good deal.
Yeah.
We're going for sure, right?
Yeah,
We're going for sure. We
Yeah.
ain't booking trip cancellation or
Yeah.
nothing. You know we're going for sure.
Yeah.
I die.
Oh, God.
Damn.
I die.
So bad.
I die.
man.
And then the trip is coming around a couple months from now.
Yeah.
Y'all still going?
I would say no, I'm not going. I can't.
I look at JR and be like, so what you think? You know he'd want us to go, right?
This one's for you, Jace.
Pour out a little liquor. But her situation was actually worse though.
Yeah.
Because it was the funeral day, right?
Okay, but let's say it's a funeral day.
No,
Let's
that's
just
no
say it's a
different. I
funeral.
actually couldn't do that.
No.
Like I would.
You would lose the money. So say you would lose 10K each.
Yeah, you know. But it's, for me, at that point, it's not worth it. Now, you said a few months. Like,
Okay,
I could let that settle down a little bit. And we're doing this for Jay. Like, you know, because I could hype up JR over that. I think I can get him to. But, like, the funeral itself or whatever, I can't see, like, I can't do it.
No.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. I just can't do it.
Okay.
Never.
That's tough, man. Yeah, I can't do it either.
You can't do it?
What about the 3 months thing? You think I'd be able to convince you to go?
I think if you pitch it to me like
We do it for
Jays,
Jay.
we're gonna wear like
20
memory
T-shirts
with his face on it and everything. Like, he's there. Like,
Oh, then for sure.
Yeah.
For
The
sure.
Laugh Kingz.
yeah.
You know.
Every time we pour a little liquor for him and pour everything in shot.
Oh, for sure. I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah, but the actual funeral, like, if it's
no.
like the week of the trip or something,
Ooh.
it's like, nah. I can't do it. I can't do it. But
I was trying to see if we could somehow give some kind of like side with this woman somehow. But
not at funeral.
Yeah.
See, and it's so if I can't do it on a guy's trip,
Yeah.
that's your husband.
Yeah.
It's her
who
husband.
apparently provided for
Yeah.
her and her family.
That's
and
worse.
And she's
Yeah.
gonna make sure she comes back for the will reading.
Oh.
You heard that part, right?
Yeah.
She's coming back for the will reading to ensure that she gets her just due of what's owed to her, apparently.
So that she didn't even need to go on the trip
Yeah.
because she would have got a bigger trip while she does the will reading.
Yeah.
But obviously, she's in the marriage for
Yeah.
the money.
That's sad.
Yeah.
That is sad, and that's why I feel like in today's world, like guys you work so hard, and at the end of the day, like what are you working for? Someone who just looks at you as a paycheck?
You're kind of looking to give her the benefit of the doubt.
I tried.
I can maybe the guy knew what he was signing up for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
like,
was he signing up for that specifically?
I don't think he thought he was gonna die on the week of the vacation, but I think like
You would think
if he's like about the money and he knows she's about the money, but maybe he's like, you know what, I'm okay. I got an attractive woman. It doesn't matter because some guys are
wasn't that
okay with it.
attractive.
I don't know. I didn't think so either. But I didn't want to be mean. But like maybe he thought like, you know, I can't get any better. She is for my money, so maybe he could have known what he was signing up for. Because some of these women are pretty upfront that they're in it for the money. Like,
Yeah.
why do we live in this world?
I wouldn't take someone up for like upfront.
If there was
for that.
somehow for you to have some superpower when you die,
Oh, I
and
haunt the
do
shit out of
something,
her.
yes.
I'd splash water on her when she's into it.
Every time she drinks, like some glass broke or some shit like that. Oh my
That's
god.
crazy.
Women today is just we can get into that topic, man, but women today ain't the same. No. It's not the same. Like everything's transactional.
Yeah.
You're living your life based on what you can do for me, not living your life for someone who actually wants to be a partnership with you.
Yeah.
Some of these women say they want a good man, and then when they have a good man, they say, "Oh, I want you to be. Why aren't you a little bit more of an asshole?" Like, it's a confusing world.
Yeah.
Like when you have a good man, you don't know how to treat a good man. You know what I mean? So if someone's there for you, then you don't know how to like reciprocate it because you never been with someone who's actually good. So I don't know. Some people are just ungrateful.
So advice for like men today, right? Because like how do you get around it? Because we need women. Women need us.
Yeah.
But women see us as not a life partner, but as an accomplishment.
That's the thing. I'm kind of confused with because you want to be an independent woman, but you want a man that's financially settled. So it's like, pick a struggle. Like, do you do you want you can't say you want to be an independent woman, but then I understand you want a partner that's like has stuff going for him and things like that, but maybe he's not there yet. Like, you know,
True.
So just pick something. So then when you have a man that is there, then you're talking about, oh, my man should be buying me this, but I thought you were an independent woman. Yeah. So it's like, you can't win. Like,
it's true.
Yeah.
It's sad.
It is. It is.
Because like you pick a woman and you accept all her insecurities. You accept.
Try to build up her insecurities. Actually, like
you invest in this relationship and hope you can create a family. I think men and women love differently. I don't know if women actually have always been that way and it's just more prevalent because of social media and going back to the conversation about immigrants, but it's like more known now. Yeah. But I've seen a lot of talks on podcasts and manosphere and all this stuff and it kind of makes sense, right? Like women always looks for something better. Ever since the beginning of time, if you map it back to beginning of time, they're always looking for something better. So like if it's a brief fling with a guy who potentially can bring you to another level, they'll do that.
Even though they have to drop back 2 levels after. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's wild.
What do you've been kind of quiet.
I don't know. I think the way that I see it is part of me wants to give the fault to some of the men out there on that. Because, look, if you know that this is a woman's intentions from the get-go, and you still say, yep, sign me up, and then she runs, and now you're like, yeah, she was in it for the money and this, but you knew that from the beginning, right? But again, that's not everyone. That's a small percentage, right? But I think, too, is, like, as a man, you kind of have to know. If you know it's either 50-50 or a woman might be in it for, like, you're my ticket, you're my provider, you're my everything, I'm going to milk you to the very end, or no, this is like an actual
If they actually
union.
milked you would be happy. Good.
Might not be a problem.
It might be like once a year, I don't know. But again, it's that idea of Like, is she in it because she actually loves me, or is she in it because she loves my money?
Right.
Right? So,
but I kind of want to get back to that. Do men and women love differently?
I think so.
yeah, they do.
Yeah, 100%.
Because
Yeah.
I think men love
Unconditionally, like they
To a
don't
point.
look to a point because they don't look at the money thing. They look at like, okay, can we build a life together
Yeah.
or whatever?
right.
And whereas the women look at like, what can he provide for me? So
What-
that's what I think what you mean by
Right.
they love differently. Like,
And I don't think it sucks for men, but like maybe that's just reality of it. Like
yeah,
they like I've talked to this before in different podcasts. Your mother will love you unconditionally.
yeah,
But your spouse will love you for what you can do for them.
right.
Right? It's sad to say that, but women just love differently and men just have to understand
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you somehow get depressed, you lose your job, do you think your woman will love you the same?
No.
No.
Do you think they'll be
Call
there
you a
for
loser.
you?
Call you.
Go back out there, go
Yeah.
get something.
Yeah.
Man, why don't you take that job? Like,
Yeah.
it was easy. You could have just done that. Like, you're just
Yeah.
lazy.
But see, it's like a cycle, right? Because if a man who has all the right building a partnership, but like try to build, and then they get they find a woman who does those things.
Right.
Now that kind of sours their perception, and they're like, okay, well maybe I shouldn't be like this, and then maybe they don't treat women as much. So then that woman who gets them the next time is like, see, all men are this sort of thing. But it's like a cycle because if they didn't go through certain situation, they had the right intentions the whole time, but someone out there just didn't have the right intentions for them, and then now they're putting out, and then it's just leading to, you know, this is how all men are, this is how all women are. This is like, people just gotta like, love for love, build partnership.
But that's what I'm
whatever.
saying.
Yeah.
There's no love for
Different.
love.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately.
different.
And that's why I think gays have it easier.
Oh God.
I'm honestly saying that because if men love differently from than women, if you're gay,
How does
here's
that
a good
work?
question.
Yeah, I don't know how it
maybe,
works.
maybe some of our gay audience can help us with this in the
'cause
comments.
I don't know.
Do you love your partner more unconditionally? Like, meaning, because I've seen a lot of this. There was this guy who went through, he knew he was going to die. It's actually a doc on, I think, Netflix. He wanted to be a human AI or whatever because he knew he was going to die. His like body was shutting down.
Yeah.
His partner basically stood by him for the last 3 years on every single mission he wanted to do. Like, he sold everything. He got into all these like research, development, stuff like that would implant stuff in his brain.
Yeah.
Basically, when his body shut down, they did stuff to like make sure his body could work. Like,
Whoa.
use his mind to kind of control an iPad so he could say certain things that he wanted to say and communicate still until he died. He went through all of that with his partner, and his partner supported him. I think a man
When
and
you
a
say
woman...
partner, you're saying man
He
and
was
man
gay.
this
Yeah,
time.
okay.
Yeah, he was gay.
Because he
And that's why-
don't hate saying partner, but now he's saying partner.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to know if man and woman love differently. So, like, that's true unconditional love.
Yeah.
He knew for the last 3 years he wouldn't get anything,
Yeah.
right? Because he was sick. Like, not to laugh at it, but
Yeah, I know, I
like
know.
sometimes we think about that.
Yeah.
Like, are
Yeah.
we gonna get something?
Yeah.
But he wasn't gonna get anything.
Yeah.
He purely supported. It's a doc. I'll give you the doc name. I'll put it in the description below. I think it's on Netflix. No, it's not on Netflix. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
But he wanted to become somehow extend his life and live through AI. Kind of like Stephen Hawking. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he couldn't do
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
but like he was able to still communicate and kind of figure out because his body was just shutting down.
Yeah.
So his partner lived through the last day of his life, basically going through this journey and supporting him.
That's interesting. But our audience is gonna think that you're saying that man should marry a man now.
No. No, I'm asking the question,
Yeah.
is a woman's love different than a man's love?
Definitely, I think.
Like whether you're gay or you're straight.
yeah.
A man, I think, would do that for his woman.
Yes, I think so. I agree with you on
But-
that.
And a gay man would do it for their guy,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Would a woman
Sacrifice to do it.
do that?
I
for
think
you
the
as well?
right woman will, but I don't think there's
you're
a lot
wrong.
of
I
women
think
that
you're
will.
wrong.
I think there is some.
I
can't
think
say there's none.
I think the right one will do that
There
if
is
there's
some.
money at the end of the day.
Oh, I see what you're saying. But I think some will. It's just not as.
Let's just focus on like the 80 percentile, right? The 80-20 rule.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna be 20%.
Like the 80-20 rule, right? Like in most cases, a woman probably would not put up with you.
No, I don't think so.
It was like we're spending all this money trying to help you get better.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but I think and as a man we would have to accept it because you're dying. You're trying to figure out a way to extend your life and hopefully still be able to communicate and not just struggle and be a vegetable.
Yeah.
Right? And your spouse, the one you hope you would rely on, at the end of the day she checks out. You have to accept that.
Yeah.
Because most likely she will look elsewhere.
I do think they do love different, but I also think there is other men that will also check out and go and do whatever. So there's
but
that.
I think the percentage is a little is that's why I feel like women the question women and men they do love differently.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You know where at first I was on the fence about what you were saying, and I'm like, I think slightly different. I think women love different than men, and I see them being
Not counting like mothers though, because the
mother's that's what I'm trying to say.
A mother's love you got to take out.
So
right,
a mother.
Right,
think about this.
Yeah.
A mother
was
born. Like your mother loves you unconditionally.
For sure.
She wants to see you grow, and that's why she typically has competition with your spouse. It's natural because they know how women are, and they know that you should be loved in a certain way, and you will not get that from a woman. That's why they are on that spouse, like white on rice, to make sure you're loved differently. So just go on. If you're talking about mother's love, that's
you can't.
No. But I was thinking, I think the conversation of man loving woman, woman loving man. But what about when it's a family and there's kids involved? I think the conversation starts to change to where.
I see what I know what you're gonna say. They're more willing to put up with everything to stay with the family, and
I think you're wrong.
You're saying
Because here's the thing.
I don't. It's tough because the thing is, you do see some men.
I think you're wrong.
They screw it up. I know what you're saying.
This is what I've seen a lot of, right? And I think, you can speak on it too, especially in the Caribbean community, right?
Big up.
Yeah, well, I'm going right there. You have the man. He'll go out. He'll cheat. He's got outside kids here, there. The woman that he comes home to is the same woman that loves him unconditionally. While he goes out, cheats. Yes, he provides for the family. He's got 3 kids with 3 different, with 3 different women.
Yeah.
But the same woman he's spent 25 years of his life with, she's never once put him out, never once, did anything other than he always has a home here. Right?
Yeah.
I have a good comeback for you. But
finish.
Yeah.
So I look at it like, there's some women will hold it down, right? Oh, he's going on a business trip, right? He's doing this, he's doing that. Let's take it outside of the Caribbean and let's take it elsewhere, right? But there's a percentage that are holding it down.
I think that's generational now. I think the generation
you got it.
Changed.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the old school they're in it for the family.
The old school didn't have the options.
Yes. Now it's different.
Yeah. Now you have options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're thinking, I know what you're thinking. Because the Caribbean man back then were doing that, and then the mothers were they knew they were doing that, but they would hold it down.
Can I put it
now? The women will do that.
Can I flip it though? Those Caribbean men, who were they doing it with? Men or women?
Oh, I would hope.
Women. Most of those times, those women had other men. They were looking for something better. How many stories have you seen that, he'll leave his wife for me?
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
So it comes down to options, comes down to generation, but inherently, it is the same issue.
Yeah.
It is the same issue that women always want to look for something better. And it's no fault to them. If that's how they're built, us guys just have to understand that. And I think that's why in these days, guys are getting a little bit colder and adapting to the situation because it's more common to see that.
Right.
Because women, you could be an average woman in let's say year 2001. Maybe you'll meet 3 guys in your life.
Yeah.
Women in 2000, the same woman today, average woman today, will have DMs loaded in her phone and have so many different options just for being average.
Yeah.
And she has the pick of the litter.
Yeah.
What is she going to pick? Oh, this guy looks like a good homebody who's going to provide for me and we're going to have a great family.
You know what we got to tell these women too? You better vet that person because after you leave that man who was holding it down for you for Jojo from the DM who looks like he's got it going on when it's all rented and all like you're not going back to that guy anymore who had that unconditional love, had his life in order, had that stuff like so you got the pick of the litter and this and that, and guess what? Looks fade. You better have 100%. The man who has the right mentality. Like that you gotta be smart with
but
these
the good
things,
thing
right?
about guys today, and one thing positive you can look at it, don't look at it as a negative. Understand the situation and the landscape that you're dealing with women today. But a man's value as you get older, and this is coming from experience, increases 10 times where a woman's value does not. You at the end of the day will be the gold, essentially. And every king should look at every man should believe they are the king. And they are the goal. And they are the reason and the head of the family. And that's the advice you should tell to young kids these days. Don't be chasing women. They don't have the same mindset of unconditional love. You're looking for a good girl to have a great family and grow stuff and do things together. Nah, man, you're the king. Let them come to you. Let them prove their worth to you. That's my advice to the younger generation.
Amen. Jeez.
A couple of beers help.
Oh, man. That was good.
Yeah.
Great. Some great
But
advice.
that woman who didn't want to go to the funeral?
Yeah. He's probably rolling in his grave seeing that or hearing it.
I feel sorry for that guy.
Yeah.
And his kids. Could you imagine he has sons?
Yeah.
Be like, that's mom?
Yeah.
Total disrespect. Oh, so what do you think about Jaguars pick, the first round?
Oh, the Jacksonville Jaguars trading
Travis
up?
Hunter.
Yeah.
What do you think about him getting married and not having a prenup? Because now is when he's coming in, continuing with this kind of conversation with money.
So the thing is with his situation, like there was a few, I don't know if you followed this. So this prenup talk happened because there was a few situations where his fiance at the time, well, it was his girlfriend first, and she was like kind of like getting annoyed at different things. She's getting annoyed, like he's signing autographs, he's doing this, and she was, and he's
was that the one that was always had the sourpuss face?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
That's why it's a big thing. So then, like, so they're like, and I think she was like dating other celebrities before too.
God.
So, listen, I think he's insane to not do a prenup because the writing's on the wall. Right. Every single person came out and told this man like she is not the one. Maybe she is. Yeah. I don't know. I can't speak. I'm not there.
But why risk it?
But why risk it?
Because now is when you're coming into your money. Now is when you're coming into your prime. Now is when you're coming into being a man and doing the things that you want to do.
The only thing I like about this as a Tennessee Titans fan, I don't care about the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you want to be stupid, be stupid.
I feel sorry for him though, but and that's where I think women have the power over the men because of the box. Like at the end of the day, it comes down to they have the box.
Yeah, but there's so many boxes out there.
He's gonna have so many boxes, right? But like for them to get married at this time, like why not wait after a couple seasons?
Yeah.
Then he will realize
the
his options.
Worth. Yeah.
And he's the king of the castle of what he could be the one dictating. Oh, you want my attention now? Well, let's do this. We can get married, but let's do this.
I don't know if you guys follow Travis Hunter as well. He's one of those generational players that actually plays both sides of the ball. Nobody plays all snaps, but in college, he plays cornerback,
be huge,
and he plays wide receiver on offense. So he's like a unicorn. You know what I mean? And he's good at both positions. Now it's the NFL. We'll have to see. He's a rookie, but if you're just even like it's Shohei Ohtani. You know what I mean? So if you can do just something and be good at it, he's gonna make a lot of money. He's gonna lose big. Like I said, it's a Jaguar, so go
we
for it.
pray to God that he doesn't lose and like it works out. But
speak for yourself. He's on the wrong team.
I'm talking as a man.
Man, I can't get rid of that Jaguar thing. No,
man.
it's for true. Like, I don't know what he was thinking.
You. It's not like you don't have resources. Like I'm pretty sure everyone reached out to you.
He should have waited. Just like play a few games and see how it works. Because
let me tell you this: if God forbid he gets injured, we will see a different tone.
Where is she gonna be?
Where is she gonna look? What is she gonna think about?
Because there might be another football player that's making more money.
And she's in the know, right? She's going to be in those rooms with those other football players in the media room. She's going to have her connect.
She's been in other people's DMs before. Like other celebrities' DMs. So
is she even hot?
I think she's... Hey, everybody's good looking, I guess. Right. I love all women. So just throw it out there. I'm a lover. So...
Well, whatever. She's hot. She's hot. Yeah.
Oh man, damn.
That sucks.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't sign. I would not. I would definitely sign a prenup.
All right.
That's a little quick hit.
Yeah.
That was a quick one.
Yeah. Which is good. Kind of need those little. Actually, that's a good one because that's probably going to be in the... Yeah. And that's why I wanted to bash the Jags. Yo, I love Cam Ward. He saw Travis Hunter. He's like, I would hate to be a Jaguar.
Oh, shoot.
Like, this is the guy. He's like, they didn't want you. Well, Tennessee had the first pick.
All right, let me give you this one. Now, since we're talking about men and women... Mary J. Blige divorced her husband, Ken Isaacs, after 13 years of marriage. He requested $1,300.
$1,300?
$130,000.
Oh, okay. Well,
a month in spousal support. Here's what he claimed he needed for: $1,000 for clothing, $3,200 for personal trainer, $5,000 for child support. So he's taking the kids.
Okay.
Commendable.
Yeah.
$5,000 for his parents, $7,000 in rent, $8,000 for a private chef, $21,000 for his charities, and $71,000 to pay off mortgages.
Jeez.
A month.
Oh my God.
But Mary J. Blige the ruling ended up she had to just pay $30,000 a month instead of $130,000. Which she got off pretty good. Yeah. For 13 years of marriage, she got off pretty good. What are your thoughts on that? Because the other way around.
Yeah.
What would have happened?
Yeah, but I don't agree with it both ways. That's the thing. Like, I don't think even if it was the other way around, I don't think that they should be able, like, if he's the breadwinner and he's the star, he's the one making money, just because you're used to a certain lifestyle, I don't agree. Now, I think child support, that portion, I agree with. That's fine. But money for your parents, money for your personal chef, $32,000 for a personal trainer. The freak kind of personal trainer you have? But like, then you should have probably put more towards your marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
So you didn't need to have a divorce, because let's be real, maybe she did, and if maybe he did and she chose to divorce, that's another possibility as well. However, that's her choice. So you are not entitled, I don't feel, and maybe the law works differently. I'm not going by, I'm just saying how I personally feel. You're not entitled to my money if I'm the one who's making the money. You're not making anything. I get it. Maybe you didn't work because, but then you should have then. Like, you gotta do something to, like, if that's the case, I get it. Like, you don't need to work because I'm making that much money. So whatever. But you can't rely on that other person. Like, I don't think you're entitled to what their fame is.
But you're talking as a man, though.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm trying to think of it both ways, too. Like, if it was a woman, too, and I was the one, and then flip it. Like, I don't think also he's... So I'm not being hypocritical. I think both sides, whether the female's the breadwinner or the man is the breadwinner, like, it shouldn't be. Work towards making it work, and if it can't work, then understand that if it's not going to work, I need to kind of, like...
13 years, though, is a long time.
It is a long time, but, like, I mean, 13... But 13 years, that's your wife, not your, like, mother. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I would feel a type of way. Like, imagine I'm married and this woman is paying. Yeah. Like, what is she? My mom? It's
but
like
she's Mary J. Blige.
But I get it, who she is. I would love for them to pay it, but I feel like I'm like a son. Like, you're sonning me.
But
like,
but you also take the kids, though.
Yeah, that's why I said the child support is different. I wouldn't feel a type of way if you're paying child support. But, like, you're like, here's your allowance for the month. Be a good little boy and spend it wisely. Like, that's, like, I personally wouldn't want that. I would try to make it work as best as I can so I don't have to get sunned. Like, what the frig? Like,
how about you?
I don't know. I think, yes, I agree with the child support part of it, right? But then it could get flipped to, okay, well, child support. Okay, yeah, $10,000 a month in child support. Meanwhile, only $2,000 is going to the children, and the other $8,000 is going to
child support's robbery, right? Like, it is. Regardless if it's man or woman, like,
it is.
What a child's gonna cost $5,000.
Yeah, but if the parent affords it, then I don't mind. Like, the parent, it's Mary J. Blige. That's the type of lifestyle you should give your child.
True.
If you're Mary J. Blige, like, we're not doing that.
Right.
But like,
it's just, I don't know. I think. And like hearing some of the stuff that was listed, like the 20,000 to charity, his charity. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, seriously.
But remember, the ruling was he only got 30.
Yeah. Thank God somebody understood.
That's $100,000 difference from what he asked to what he got. Yeah. Right. So I mean,
he's not putting it to charity.
I personally think it was fair.
30,000
what he asked versus what he got for 13 years. Because,
but it's not.
I think it's
not transactional, man.
It's not transactional. Yeah. But if it were roles were flipped, he was gonna pay the full $130,000.
But that's why I say I don't agree with that either. You know what I mean? That's why I said, like, but the charity thing is wild. Why did she just pay it in her name? Like, you know what I mean?
Because the tax return.
Yeah, it goes to her. That's why. That's exactly why. You know what I mean? So this guy's smart. Give him credit. Like, he's not a stupid guy to ask for these things. I was like, 21,000 in charity. What charity are you putting that to? You're not putting toward nothing. Like,
oh man.
Yeah, that's a hilarious thing.
That's crazy.
So if we extend the conversation, if you were not the breadwinner, but you were married someone for such a long time who actually became the breadwinner.
Yeah.
Would you ask for spousal support?
Kids or no kids?
Kids. So same situation.
Okay.
So
Same
you're taking the kids, yeah.
13. And the thing I don't get is Mary J. Why is like some coldness on the side of Mary J? I feel like why is he the primary? Maybe because he has the time.
I don't
know, but usually women get the advantage in court about having the kids.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. I don't know about the specifics in that, but let's just go with you're the primary. You're gonna take care of the kids. Taking care of the kids are a lot, man. Like even though you put 5,000, monetarily it may be too much, but you have a lot of responsibility there.
Yeah.
Like you can't put a value to that.
No. I don't know. I don't think I'll take.
Because how can you go to a job knowing that you have to take care of kids? Because the 13 years, let's say the kids are young, right?
Yeah.
Let's say they're 10 and whatever, under 10.
Yeah.
You can't really afford to go get a full-time job if you're taking care of the kids.
But just everybody else, just like everybody else, though, right? Like if you could also put them in daycare or
daycare
whatever.
Is a salary alone.
Yeah.
It's
But you're getting
$30,000 a year.
5,000 or whatever he asked for.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not just the monetary thing, but like I think the kids thing, spousal support should be different than child support, but even the child support is not enough. Like I think on both sides, it's never enough. Like even if you put a number to it, you only spend 1,000 or 3,000 a month.
Yeah.
How about all those other artillery things that you do outside of that?
Yeah.
Waking up, being there when they're sick, going picking them up, cleaning them. You know, like things that don't have money, being their support system. You can't put that's why I feel like you can't put money on a child support, especially at this level.
But definitely there's a lot of people out there that's not getting as much as he's getting for the child support, you know? So
but like
that's
how
the
do you
thing. So I can't feel bad for him.
How do you take your kids from living a life like that?
Yeah.
That all of a sudden now you're living in Jamaica, Queens. You know, like
it's
like weird.
Yeah.
It's like weird. Like, do you want to take them out of that situation?
But that's partly on Mary J. Blige too, because if you want you take your children with you because you know you have the lifestyle, or you put the child support. Like, if I was in the situation and I would want the kids with me, to be quite honest with you, but like let's say they weren't, then I would actually voluntarily, because I know I can afford it, and it's almost like a spousal support in a way, but I would make sure it's written that it's for the kids. So it like as much as, you know, it might not go to them, whatever, but they should have a lifestyle. And now if they can't get the lifestyle that I'm paying for them to get, then I'm actually going to put in for custody of the kids. Like, because I'm going to be like, hey, they're not having the lifestyle. I'm paying, let's say, $20,000 a month for them.
But
they
money
should have,
won't solve it.
No, but I'd rather not like take them on to make sure that they can.
But let's look at that realistically.
Yeah,
Mary J. Blige won't have time for them.
that's the
If
thing.
she's career driven, like
Her
you have to
career-
look
her
at
career's over
you have to look at it as like Mary J. Blige is the man, and she's career driven. She's gonna do anything to make that bread.
Yeah,
She will sacrifice family time for her career. And unfortunately, that's what I think it is. Like, she's not willing to be the primary custodian of the kids.
maybe that's what it is. Yeah. I wouldn't ask for spousal support. I would definitely ask for child support, though. To your question.
I think that's fair. I think. Yeah, if the primary source of the funds that I'm receiving is for the kids, but the spousal support, it's a little.
Yeah,
now
I just feel weird. I know I'd take it. Don't get me wrong. Like if you're,
that's what I want to know.
Like if you're
Would you
giving
take 13 years?
I'm saying like I don't want to feel.
Years.
I don't want to feel sun.
Dealing with Mary J. Blige telling you you ain't shit.
I don't want to feel sun, but I'd be like stupid to be like, nah, it's good. You can keep the
Let
money.
me go
like,
back to my note.
Yeah. Like I'll take it. But I wouldn't like come out and be like, I deserve 130,000 and like split it. Freaking personal chef, my charities. What charities? Like I would definitely be like, try to be fair and realistic. Like, obviously, if you want to award me more, like,
I'm taking that money.
yeah, I'm taking it. Like, what the hell? I'm not. But it would feel weird to ask, though. Don't you feel like it's like a weird vibe to me? You wouldn't feel? Yeah, I would feel weird. I would feel weird.
Because the other way around,
they wouldn't feel weird.
Wouldn't feel weird. It's
but
business.
it's for women. See, that's the thing. We going back to kind of like the relationship. Women don't care about taking money from men.
Right.
They just don't have that. Like, it's regular.
Right.
But like, if I'm making like, I'm different. I guess I'm different.
Yeah.
Like, I feel weird taking it from a woman. Like, I don't know.
That's the point I'm trying to make. Is where I think men are changing their mentality and like, okay, you want this to be transactional. Let's be transactional.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna lose value over trying to overcompensate and make a life for you when you won't do the same for me.
You know what? Son me. I've changed my. I'm just messing. No, but maybe I'll eventually get to that way, like way of thinking. Because like maybe I need to change my way of thinking. I'm trying to be too nice. I'm trying to be too good here. Like 50-50 this would be.
Mr. 50-50.
I can't do it.
And
I can't.
But it's kind of 50-50, right? Because you were home taking care of the kids, managing the charity.
This is like the
and she's out there doing the financial part of it.
And that was all cool then, but now that we're separate, I think it's...
I understand what you're saying, but I think Jay's trying to convince me to take the money. No, but...
Take as much as you can, King.
Take as much as you can. Sometimes you might have to. Because you're flip on you and you're trying not to flip, right?
13 years of no progression in your career. How are you going to enter back in the workforce?
I'm trying to be too nice, and she might have been like, "Hey, I don't care." Like,
oh man.
All right.
Yeah.
Almost 2 hours we got.
You want to end it?
Sure. Well, with that being said, y'all, we want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Laugh Kingz podcast. I'm JR. We got Uncle Sammy. We got Jace. But before you leave, if you enjoyed our content, don't forget, give us a like, subscribe, and drop a comment and let us know. Share your thoughts. Who knows? Your comment might be featured on our next episode. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Peace.